Hi, Marianne Croce here from Small Biz Vantage and the creator of 3 Day Weekend System and Coaching. And I am so glad to be here each and every week to do these lives on business leadership in 15 minutes. I do them for a couple of reasons. One of them is for you to be able to shift your perspective of your business, your vantage, if you will, and really turn that into your competitive edge. That's really what helps you grow and your business grow for that matter. The second reason I do it is for you to take away one action item each and every week that can really make an impact on your business. We think sometimes it takes these big, massive changes, but small shifts can really make a big impact, a ripple effect. So the question that I get asked most often is, Marianne, who do you work with? And I work with single location automotive shop owners who find themselves in a situation where they really thought that owning a business would give them a lot of freedom. And then once they were in it, they're experiencing what I call owner overload. There's a lot to learn, there's a lot to keep up with because of changes, staying current. And what they really want to do is gain control of their business so the business is no longer controlling them. And that's where I come in and help with 3 Day Weekend System and Coaching. So today's topic, if you find it valuable, please share it with another business owner that you know. We can all learn and grow by supporting and helping one another. Today's topic is the number one skill for business success. So I had a conversation recently with a local business owner at a networking event. It really got me thinking when I had this conversation because most owners are great at leading themselves. They're very self directed. They have a lot of grit, they have a lot of drive, and they're really good at that. In fact, it's the skill that they really relied on when they decided to open up their shop, their business. They believe that hard work and grit is what they need to succeed. And I'm not saying they're wrong. It's a great starting point. But owners believe that most people are like them in the sense that I want people on my team that are very self directed, they work hard, they have a lot of grit. And what happens is this really turns out to be an assumption that will hold business owners back from achieving their goals. Most people want a strong leader that they can trust and that they can rely on. They want a leader that aligns with their core values. That's really what most people want. And the challenge is just because you can lead yourself doesn't mean that you can lead others. I want to repeat that. Just because that you are very self-directed and you can lead yourself doesn't mean that you could lead others. And what happens is that this is really an overlooked skill. Leadership is the number one skill that determines success. And leadership isn't taught in school. It really isn't. I mean, when you think of experiences, the first thing that comes to my mind as a real young child is being a line leader. So they give you that title and everyone has to follow you, but it doesn't mean that they trust you or they're going to be willing to follow your lead. It's just you were given a title. So this leadership isn't really taught in school. And it's a very outward way of thinking of other people's needs, their goals, their challenges and obstacles. So imagine where your business would be if you considered your teams, your suppliers, your vendors, and your customers' perspective first. very different than what we normally do. We think of all of our needs, our challenges, any obstacles that get in our way as an owner. That's naturally what we do. And that's a very inward way of thinking. But what if you were to really take an outward approach and think of other people's perspective first? Most owners are so overloaded with running the day to day that it's easy to slip into a very defensive way of thinking, defending why you do what you do for the business. So I want to share with you today 7 leadership pillars for success. Think about these and think about how these will apply in your business. So, the first pillar for leadership is listen and pay attention. What you're listening for and what you're paying attention to are questions, information, and feedback. Make people feel heard. When you do that, it makes you a better leader. Number 2, be respectful. People won't follow a leader that they don't respect. So you get respect by showing respect to others. Respect is something that we have to earn. So be the example. If you want your team to respect customers, suppliers, vendors, if you want people that walk into your shop to be treated a certain way, you better be that example. Number 3, be humble and ask questions. Don't be a know-it-all. Don't act like you know it all. When you ask questions, you actually build confidence. You encourage critical thinking skills. People will try to figure things out. And what'll also happen is you will catch small issues before they turn into these big, major problems. Number 4 is be encouraging. Everyone goes through tough stuff. I don't care who you are. Support them, make them feel understood, and work through obstacles. You may have a great supplier, vendor, team member. They're just going through some tough stuff right now. Be encouraging, support them. Number 5, admit mistakes. Don't hide them. If you make a mistake, don't brush it under the rug. Don't give excuses. Don't hide them. Admit them, because this builds trust among your team. Set a positive example. Build a culture of learning from mistakes. We're all going to make them. You don't want people to be disrespectful or actually, like annihilate people that make mistakes, make fun of them, humiliate them. You don't want to do that. So you need to be the example. Number 6 is choose incentives wisely. You want everyone working on the same goal. Misalignment can really cause frustration, inefficiency, and confusion. So a really good example of this is when you're thinking about putting incentives in place and you're talking about, say, sales goals that you have. You want to make sure that the sales goals that you put in place don't have people cut corners or affect quality control to make those sales and to get those jobs out. So you want to make sure that you're taking that into consideration too. Because in the end, those sales goals that goal that you put into place may actually hurt another part of your business. So you want to choose incentives wisely. And lastly, number 7, words matter. You have to give negative feedback tactfully. At some point, everyone is going to get some type of negative feedback. People are okay with constructive feedback if it's done respectfully. But when you attack people it won't be received well. So don't attack people. So here are the outcomes. If you put these into place, here are the outcomes that you can expect. So you give people credit. Okay. They know when you're not listening or you're not paying attention. So when you're listening to people, make sure that you give them credit because they can really tell the difference when you have that blank stare or you're concentrating on something else and you're not really paying attention to when they're speaking to you. When you show respect, you inspire others to give their best. When you're asking questions, okay, this gives you access to new insights, to new ideas, to new perspectives, some of them that you may never even thought of or considered before. By encouraging others, you're showing them that you have their back, and then they'll give you their best. A team wants to know that you have their back, that you're not going to throw them under the bus. Admitting that you're wrong just makes you human. Making things right is more important than saving face. Incentives shouldn't cause another area of your business to suffer. So I gave you an example about the sales goals and the shortcut, right, for quality control. The idea is here that when you're doing incentives, you have to think long term. Look at the big picture in your business. And lastly, people do assess themselves. So they're really not surprised by negative feedback. They know when they're coming up short or when they're not doing what's expected. They're really going to be appreciative of constructive feedback as a path to improve. If that's how you present it, they will be appreciative of it. So it's really easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of your business. Honing your leadership skills will help your business become more profitable, sustainable, and enjoyable for your stage of business and your stage of life. So this is for long-term success. And what I want to do is I want to give you some examples of this. And the first is, think about this for the shop owner who wants to stop playing catch up and they really want to own their owner role. Get comfortable and confident in all areas of your business. Leadership can really help with that. Or the shop owner who wants to stop doing it all. They really want to figure out how to delegate and outsource more. But of course, they don't want, quality to suffer. So they want to shift from the business controlling them to really being in control of the business. Also, leadership can really help with a shop owner with an established team that wants to stop being the go-to person. So they have a team and they've given them, things to do. They have some systems and processes in place, but yet everything gets directed towards them. So this owner really wants to empower their team by developing leaders so that they could step away as they need or they want to. So leadership is really valuable at different stages of business. The owner that has an established business but doesn't want to be that go-to person, it's really, really key. So I want to leave you with a pro thinking tip, which is really something that is good when it comes to leadership here. Leadership is an outward thinking. It's a skill. It definitely is outward thinking, not inward thinking. And it's a skill that you need to continually develop. It will help you personally and professionally. And I want to give you an example of an outward thinking, a story of this awareness, this outward thinking awareness. And I actually read this story in a book and I thought it was so good. I share it all the time now. A dad comes home from work, and that evening he's getting his three young children ready for bed. So he makes his rounds and he's kissing each child goodnight. And his middle child, the daughter, has her back turned to him and she's obviously upset. So when the dad asks her, "What's wrong?" she says, "You don't like me as much as John." And dad replies to her, "That's not true. I love you all. In fact, we were outside last night. We were having fun. We were playing basketball." That's when she turned around and looking at her dad, she said, "But dad, I don't like basketball." So dad realized that what he had been doing, all the activities that he had been doing with his children when he gave it some thought, were activities that he liked, that he enjoyed. But he never actually asked them what they wanted to do. He assumed. So now he started taking more of an outward approach, and his daughter enjoyed playing with him. She enjoyed her time with dad, and he was building a bond. And as someone with grown children, I can tell you that when they look back when they're older, that girl will remember that time that dad spent with her, whether it was playing soccer or playing princess. If dad made himself vulnerable and said, "I don't know how to play princess. How do we play that?" And she told him, and they had a lot of laughs. That's a very outward way of thinking. This is what we need to do with our team. This is how we need to develop our leadership and create that trust and that bond with them. Leadership is something that we'll always, always be working on. So that's it for this week's Business Leadership in 15 minutes. And I look forward to next week. Have an enjoyable week. And thank you for being here.